Hello everyone and welcome to Oriana Unlock. I am Oriana and on this channel we are going to be diving deep in order to unlock new knowledge on topics that truly matter. And today we're truly reaching a milestone for the channel because, well, we have already explored persuasion and the science and art of it with Professor Gary Orton from Harvard. We have talked about negotiation with Gustavo Velasquez, but today we're going to go deeper into the human brain. I am more than honored to be joined today by a very special guest. He is Professor Dan Shapiro. Professor Shapiro is the director and founder of the Harvard International Negotiation Program, and he is also an associate professor of psychology in Harvard Medical School. But he is not only an academic, he has also traveled around the world from the halls of the World Economic Forum in Davos to conflict zones like, for example, the Middle East to, help leaders and CEOs and even families resolve what seemed like their most non-negotiable problems. Here's also a very fun fact about Professor Shapiro. He is named one of the top 15 professors at Harvard University by the Harvard Crimson. So he is truly one of the most respected voices at campus. He is the author of incredible books like Negotiating the Non-Negotiable and Beyond Reason, which I actually have my copy here. So thank you, Dr. Shapiro. It is truly an honor to have you here on Oriana Unlock. Welcome, and I can't wait to have our conversation and unlock this new knowledge with you. Thank you.
And it is wonderful to be here and to explore ideas with you. So thank you for the invitation. Yes.
Thank you so much. Okay, Professor Shapiro, in my generation, well, every generation, but my generation faces a lot of pressures, like for example, social media or school stress. When our emotions start taking over in a heated moment, what is the first thing a young leader should do to sort of stay in control?
What do you think? I'm curious.
Maybe listen to the other person and then like process the idea in your mind and then maybe talk.
No, that sounds great. So let's put it in a very, a simpler kind of situation. Oh, yeah, I get into a conflict with a family member, or you get into a conflict with a family member. All of a sudden, the emotions start to take over. At those moments, I think that the simplest and most useful first thing to do is to become more self-aware, to realize, my emotional temperature is rising right now. I'm going into what I typically call vertigo. I'm spinning. I'm starting to emotionally spin. I found that once I can label that emotional experience, now I have control over. So I can decide, do I want to submit to this emotional force and start yelling at one of my sons or my wife, or am I better suited at this moment? Is it more appropriate, more effective to actually go, okay, I'm about to lose it, but is it going to make sense to lose it? No. So let me put that energy aside and now try to listen to the other person. Try to ask those questions. But I think self-awareness is first, and labeling what you're feeling.
You talk about the core concerns, like for example, appreciation and autonomy. For a teenager who feels like their parents or teachers don't always listen to them, how can we use these core concerns to make our voices heard without starting a fight?
Yeah. So what my research has shown me over the years, basically a secret about the DNA of the human emotional experience. And the secret is that all of us have 5 basic human needs. And my colleague Roger Fisher and I, we call these things core concerns. They are emotional needs we all have. And I think the secret for the teenager is that you have these 5 core concerns, and so does the teacher, the parent, the authority figure as well. Both sides have. And if you are aware of what these 5 core concerns are, now you can navigate them more effectively. You mentioned one, but let me share them with you. So just imagine a conflict that you've had recently with somebody, Oriana. You don't tell me.
Just imagine,
And for all of your viewers, listeners, whatever we call the people who watch these things, just think about your own conflict right now in your own life. 5 core concerns. In that conflict situation, Oriana, did you feel appreciated by the other person to the extent you wanted the appreciation? Did you? Yes? No. Okay.
That's core concern number 1.
Core concern number 2 is autonomy. Autonomy is the freedom to make decisions without somebody else telling you what to do or how to feel or how to think. Did you feel like that other person was imposing their thoughts on you? Like, Oriana, you're just not listening the way you should.
Yeah.
I will tell you how you should be, right? That's autonomy. We're put into a corner. We don't like it. Core concern number 3 is affiliation. In a conflict situation, do you feel like that other person is working with you or treating you like an adversary? Oriana, it's me versus you. I'm right, you're wrong. Ha ha, you will listen to me, right? That's affiliation. We all want it. We all want that human connection. But in a conflict, it becomes very fragile. Core concern number 4, this is status. So status is about who's up, who's down. Now, I might say to you, Oriana, as we're in the midst of a fight, I might say, you know what? I understand everything that you are thinking, Oriana. Now, my words are saying I understand, but my attitude says I am superior to you in status. I'm above you. You feel put down. Now the energy is negative again. And the 5th of these core concerns that we all have is role. What role do you tend to play in that conflict with your best friend or your mom or dad? And do you tend to play the role of the fighter, the boxer, the emotional boxer? Or do you tend to play the role of the problem solver, the listener, the person with curiosity? We can play any number of roles in a conflict. We typically play the emotional boxer, but it's often not the most helpful. So back to your question. What's the advice for a teenager on how to deal with, an arrogant adult, someone who you feel is overstepping their bounds? I'd start by, first of all, again, self-awareness. And if it's not an unsafe situation, I'd start by trying to understand and appreciate the other side's perspective, their core concerns. Help me understand more about why you don't want me to go out tonight past 11 o'clock. And then you listen, and you really listen. Well, it gets scary late at night on these streets. And okay, so you care about my safety. Anything else? Well, this and that can bring you to a place where you can start to brainstorm. What if I stay with my 2 best friends tonight? We take an Uber home, or, best friend's mom is going to drive us home, even better, at midnight instead of 11. Well, okay, now they feel heard in terms of these core concerns, and their needs are met. Yeah. So anyway, long answer to a wonderful short question.
No, but amazing. Thank you so much for explaining that to us. Your book, Beyond Reason, suggests that emotions are actually tools, not just distractions. Can you give us an example of how an emotion like pride can either help or hurt a negotiation between friends, for example?
Again, I'd be curious your thoughts. To keep this as a conversation, any examples from your own life or those of friends where pride has gotten in the way?
Yeah, well, that is terrible. I mean, when you're trying to talk with your friend and they don't want to agree to something because they think they'll hurt their pride, that doesn't feel really good. You don't feel appreciated by the other person.
Yeah, I mean, it comes back to these core concerns, I think. It's yes, people say it's about ego, but I think it's about, I want to feel heard and appreciated. There's a mindset that I find we often get into in conflict situations. I call it the tribes effect. It's an odd name, but the basic idea is that the moment your identity feels threatened, which is in almost any conflict situation, whether it's with your best friend or a parent, a family member, the moment your identity feels threatened, number 1, it becomes adversarial. It's me versus you. It's us versus them in society. Number 2, we get self-righteous, and this is the pride. So I think I, Dan Shapiro, am right. Legitimacy is on my side, and Oriana, you are wrong and crazy, right? You're not. And the number 3 element of this mindset that we get into is that it's insular, it's closed mindset. So if you and I get into a conflict, I'm going to turn to my best friend and I'm going to say, can you believe what Oriana did? And they're going to say, oh my, I can't believe it. And my pride gets satiated, calmed, and you're going to go to your best friend. Can you believe what Shapiro said to me on that podcast? He said, what? And you're going to get, and all of a sudden, we're 2 sides drifting further and further apart. The pride is a huge part of it. It has good ends. I want to feel appreciated and heard and valued, but often it can, you're right, become an obstacle to negotiation.